Ooby-doo, it's everybody's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast. Today we're going to revisit the SMC PENTAX-A zoom 1:4 24-50 millimeters. And as a special treat, it's on the PENTAX K50. I recently acquired this camera because it's 16 megapixels. It came with the lithium-ion battery, but with an adapter you could use 4 AA batteries, which I have the adapter for the KR. This is 16 megapixels. It's a really nice camera. It's got some excellent features. It takes really nice pictures. It's still Pentaxian in it's sort of its layout and the menu. Yeah, they augment it a little bit, but it's mostly the same. This camera has a bad reputation that has this thing called aperture block. I didn't understand the concept of that. What happens is there's a solenoid in there that trips a lever that stops the aperture down when you're, say this is I could put this lens on A and control it by the camera. That's pretty cool, huh? And you can go to AV mode, and by dialing one of these dials, you can change the aperture, and the thing will pick a shutter speed. And you know, all of it, it's all could be done from inside the camera. But with the aperture block failure is the lens is always stuck at f/22. And then they say there's some tricks you could get around it. I did some research, and 30% of the production, they had a poll, and Pentax forums had a poll about this camera. And the people who respond to the poll, there's a 30% failure rate for this aperture block. Still, that means there's 70% of the cameras are still good. So I bought this from my favorite used photo gear place, and well, I guess I got a good one. Oh, and they failed sooner rather than later. Like, they didn't fail after 10 years, they failed after you know, a couple months, a couple years, and it didn't matter how many times you tripped the shutter, and that they just either failed or they lasted forever. Maybe they had a bad batch of these solenoids or something, I don't know. But apparently this one works. It works with this Pentax lens. Briefly, I ran this Pentax lens on other mirrorless camera bodies using dumb adapters, of course, and I got mixed results with it. It seemed to work better at the 50 millimeter end, and it seemed to work crappier at the 24 millimeter end. I noticed that it didn't seem to focus exactly at infinity. I've seen this on select other Pentax lenses have that problem, where you go, they just don't seem to hit infinity exactly. But on this camera, it seems to work better at 24 millimeters and not so good at 50 millimeters. Now, as long as you're at a non-infinity distance, you could get really good results. I stopped it down at you know, f8, 11, and some f16s. Of course, I went into manual mode because I wanted to have some more deciding factor of what I want to shoot at. So what did I do? I took it to the BOGOTA car show, not Bogota, Colombia, but Bogota, New Jersey, and they had a car show there. And concurrently, I took another camera, the Canon M50 Mark II, which is a USM camera, and I stuck another lens on that, and I did a photo shoot. I wanted to see which was better. So that is videos already posted, and you can look at that and decide yourself. That was the Nikon 28 to 50 millimeter f3.5. Now, this lens, I like two-touch lenses, you know, because I don't have to worry about lens creep. What does it focus down to? Without any shenanigans, without having to push a lever or go past 24 or 50, it focuses down to 0.4 meters, which is just to 1.4 feet, which is really nice. That's really, really nice. I put a lens hood on this, even though it's supposed to be SMC. It's still an older lens. I like the results I got out of this. The focus confirmation worked really well, which is there's three things. You get a beep, you see the red light, wherever the focus point is. I always pick the center. And then there's a green hexagon in the status bar along the bottom, and you know you're in focus. And I was hitting like close to 90% or more. You know, I said, wow, this is great. They really improved their focusing. The KR was a step up, but this is even a step up from that. Compared to the K100D or K200D, both cameras I had, it was virtually impossible to focus this thing. I mean, even the focusing screen works a whole lot better. I mean, you can see across the whole screen when an image snaps in, and it makes your life so much better. And like I said, at non-infinity distances, this thing's a really nice performer. And you know what? Since it goes to 24 millimeters, you get a little bit extra wide angle. But it's just interesting to have it marked at 28 too. I think originally they were going to make it 50 to 28. And he said, you know, if we just move the lens barrel this little more bit, we could get 24. So 8, 11, 16, it works really good. I was very happy with it. I was shooting at ISO 400 or 200, some 200 and some 800. And I really like this lens. Nice lens. Nice combo on this thing. So I guess, you know, whenever I want to shoot this lens, it's got to go on the K50. But, you know, I don't want to talk about that too much. You just look at the pictures following, and you can decide yourself. But don't be afraid of this camera. Even though it has a bad reputation, and I think the next two cameras after it had the same problem with this aperture block. But it was like this thing where I think all the ones that are going to fail, failed. That's not to say this may fail in the future sometime. I don't know. So let's jump right into some pictures. You check it out. You let me know. A lot of the other companies like Canon and Nikon, they went 28 to 50 millimeter for their short zooms. But Pentax had to go to 24 to 50, which is actually a full 2x zoom. And all I think they did was they just made an extra long cam so it turned a little bit, and they got it. Now, I like these pictures, how they came out. They came out really nice. And I was relying on the focus indicator in the K50 to tell me when it was in focus. And I was pleased that out of all the pictures I took, maybe only 2 or 3 came out blurry. But still, if you look really, really close at pixel peeping, it seems 50 millimeters doesn't hit infinity. And it's a K-mount camera made by Pentax, and it's a K-mount lens made by Pentax, which I don't know what to think. It's adjustable. I mean, you would have to delve into the, you know, find where the set screws are and peel back, you know, focusing bands or something. And I just don't feel like doing it right now. But the results speak for themselves. It's a nice lens. As long as you have a non-infinity target, that means that's something that's closer to you than infinite far away, it's going to take good pictures. I was pleased with the sharpness, the contrast. I did adjust these for levels. Mostly I reduced the highlights, and I did boost some shadows. But I didn't sharpen any. I don't sharpen. This is strictly out of the camera, and I was very pleased with the results. So, you know, this is a lens that you could buy if you have a Pentax DSLR, or you could use an adapter on some sort of mirrorless camera, and you get excellent results, but the only caveat being that it's going to be weak at infinity, without a doubt. I guess you could try different adapters, and maybe there's natural variability in them, and you'll find one that's a little shorter, and you'll maybe just be able to hit infinity. Now, I went to a BOGOTA, and it was really hot that day, but it was sort of overcast. So I got there early in the morning. As soon as they opened up, they were already open when I got there. They said they started at 8 o'clock. Well, there was cars there, and they were all set up and ready to go. And of course, it was free for spectators, and that was the great part. And I stopped and I talked to people about their cars and all this stuff, right, you know. And I sort of like it, you know. Now, I took two cameras there. Not only did I take the K50 with the PENTAX-A 24 to 50, but I took a Canon M50 Mark II and the Canon 28 to 50 millimeter. And they're about even, except that, the Pentax goes a little bit wider. And on a crop sensor, that's very helpful, without a doubt. But, can I pick one over the other? If you look at the Pentax-A, it's a mechanical thing of beauty. I mean, it's just, you could tell the craftsmanship and the design and engineering went to it. It was just fantastic. Whereas, I hate to say it, but the Canon was sort of plastic, and it has some backlash on the focusing ring. But aside from that, it was okay. And so, yeah, they're about the same price. And what are they optically? They're close. In some respects, I could say the Pentax is better. In some respects, I could say the Canon was better. The Canon was a little faster, but in daylight, it doesn't matter. If you're stopped on the F8 or F11, well, it just doesn't matter at all. So you may see some of these cars, some of the other shows I went to, and I guess guys, they like to drive around on weekends and see if they can win a trophy and one of these shows. It only costs them 20 bucks or something. But as a spectator, you get to see all these old iron horses, from 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago. I think that's really cool. I think that's slick, and some of them are cherry. I mean, it's, wow. I like to dissect things now. After you get a couple car shows and you do the portraits of cars, then you want to zoom up on the details and, how light reflects off of one paint job onto another. And even if you see the same cars at a different show, the lighting's always going to be different. Is it going to be sunny, partly cloudy, overcast, like that? And, you're going to be in a different ambiance. This was an industrial place, very industrial, and maybe the next time it's going to be in a school parking lot or in a park. So it's always going to be, a different environment when you're taking your pictures. So I've been experimenting, how do you take car show pictures that are not always the same? Yes, everyone knows what a 56 Buick looks like, or maybe you don't, but, what is a 56 Buick, or let's check it out. What are its details? Here's a perfect example, a yellow car reflecting off a black car. And then the chrome isn't brass, it's the yellow reflecting off the chrome. And it's this distortion, funhouse mirror distortion in the chrome bumper. So I like to, experiment with all that stuff too. And then this is a car I've never seen before, this monster van. I guess that was like a Scooby-Doo and those meddling kids, that's their van. And then, it was amazing. It's all jacked up, and the guy drove it in. I guess it's street legal. And that's the cool thing. You see, but people fix their cars up and they actually drive them. And it's like it's a living museum in a way. That's exactly what it is, a living museum. And here's a Crown Victoria. I never remember seeing one of these when I was a kid. They must have been so expensive, like only very few people had them. And then this used to be very popular to paint murals on the hood of your car, especially with people who had vets. And then these people had it in their trunk, and I thought it was cool. Maybe that'll come back, Chevys. Look at that. Look at that chrome. Oh, my God. Of course, a lot of the chrome was redone. There's a self-portrait, a funhouse mirror self-portrait. I just like the way, everything is all different with the light and you look at details and stuff. So check out the companion video, but I could recommend this lens with some caveats. That's all there is to it.